What's up, peeps? This is Todd, and welcome back to my show. So I was recently in a follow-up Millennial Money video with Gabriella, Alex, Garrett, and myself. And just like any other video showcasing people who are doing well and managing properties and being successful, there were a lot of haters. So this video is Millennial Millionaire Reads Mean Comments Part 2. If that sounds good, let's hop into the video. So the first mean comment: why does somebody need to own 6 properties to rent out, especially when they're already on $150K salary? Seems a bit grim. Well, Joe Brennan, I can only assume that that comment was targeted at me specifically, because I don't think anyone else featured in the video has those specific credentials except for me. I will answer your question. First of all, nobody needs 6 houses. That's not what this is about. This is about building wealth and creating a future. But also keep in mind, I'm providing houses for 34 people. So I didn't put a gun to anyone's head to sign a lease. What I did was I created an ad about a room for rent. Then I had people message me about that room wanting to see more information. I gave them more information, and we eventually set up a virtual tour or a FaceTime tour. Once they took the virtual tour, that's when they decided whether or not they wanted to see the place in person. For those that wanted to see the house or the room in person, they came and they did a tour, and then I sent them the sample lease agreement and also the background check. If the lease agreement looked good to them and they passed the background check, then and only then did they sign on the bottom line that they wanted to live there and give me a deposit. So everyone that's living in one of my houses, by definition, by basic economics, that was the best decision for them at the time. Whether it's location or the price or the house is nice and new and that's what they wanted, they made the very best decision for them. So for the 34 people that I provide housing to, I promise you, they're happy that I own 6 houses. Now, there was a reply to Joe, which will be my second comment on this video, and he says, let's face it, it's just greed. Now, the next mean comment isn't actually at me, it's towards a guy named Alex who did offer his tenants some financial advice, and this mean comment says, I would be so offended if my landlord handed me a Dave Ramsey book. It's basically saying to someone, I don't think you know how to manage your money. Very rude. In my mind, a Dave Ramsey book is actually really good. There's some good advice in there. I don't agree with everything Dave Ramsey says, but if someone's going to give me a free book that could help my personal finance journey, I'm probably going to read it. Ray says, oh, it's the cheapskate landlord with 20 roommates. That for sure is directed to me. Ouch. Okay, the next comment. This really just shows that if you're smart and already have money, you profit from recessions. It just really F's the average person. Now, this is kind of hard to argue with. Yes, if you have money, then you can actually make a ton of money in recessions, just like it happened in 2008. When a recession happens, that means that stocks and real estate go down in value. The value drops dramatically. And a lot of companies are on the brink of going out of business. So if you're somebody that has means, you can buy stocks, real estate, and companies for pennies on the dollar. The next comment says, yeah, just profit off of people during a crisis. I hope their bubble bursts when they need the money the most. So this idea of profiting off of people is a very interesting idea. Everything is profit. Everything is profit, you guys. If you go to the grocery store and buy a loaf of bread, the grocery store just made a profit off of you. And by the way, the baker who sold the loaf of bread to the grocery store, they sold it for a profit. And the farmer who grew the wheat to sell to the baker, they sold that wheat for a profit as well. So everything is profit. I don't know why profit is like this bad word. But also, regardless of whether or not it's a crisis, we're still providing people with places to live. Another comment from Based Holy, Halo, whatever. He says, should be tied to a post and shot. This guy's just angry. Okay, another comment from Stace Jow. Okay, yeah, but not gonna feel sorry for these people hoarding properties that they took loans out to try to profit off of people trying to live. First of all, nobody's asking you to feel sorry for us. That didn't happen at all. But this goes back to the whole oh, you're trying to make a profit. You guys, if you work for a company, let's say you have a job. Your boss is making a profit off of you. Let's say your job pays you a salary of $40,000. Your boss is happy to pay you that salary if you're bringing $50,000 worth of value. You're not going to make $40,000 if you're only bringing your boss $20,000 worth of value. So by definition, if you have a job of any kind, the company you work for is making a profit off of you. Man in the Arena, he says, here's what I think about landlords right now. Lowest life forms on the planet, right next to the communist police officers arresting people for walking in the park. Interesting. Next comment from All Gods, No Masters. Parasites, the lot of them. Corey Mondello says, "Oh, poor wealthy young people that would toss anyone out on their butts, making them homeless. This is a great way to show just how selfish these people are, as if we already didn't know." I mean, I frankly find this comical. Like, I live in a duplex that I own, that I bought with money that I earned, and I rented out the bedrooms in this duplex. Like, this is my house, you guys. Like, this is my house. And people asked if they could live in this house with me as my roommates, and I said yes. And yeah, we rent out the other half of our duplex, and yes, we built a studio downstairs, but it's like people are living here, which means that they made the conscious decision to move into our properties because it was either cheaper than what the alternatives were, or it was in a better location for them, or the properties were nicer. Nobody was forced to sign a lease with me, or any of the other people on this last Millennial Money video. This next comment says, "Eat the rich." How eloquent. King Ghidorah says, "Hoarding shelter while others go without is a disgusting practice, and I'm genuinely concerned for anyone that considers it a viable and morally thing to do." Well, this is just another... I don't know how to respond to this. I have several, I think 5 of my tenants are making 6 figures. One of them is literally a rocket scientist. He makes a ton of money. He doesn't have to rent a room in a house. He does that because he's choosing to live cheaply. He's choosing to live like a minimalist so he can buy a house of his own and then go live his life. And again, this idea of hoarding shelter, I bought property specifically so I could provide housing to others. Like in the duplex that we live here, yes, but we have 5 other places, and the sole purpose of those homes are to provide housing to other people. Now, the title of the video that I was most recently in was "What It's Like Being a Landlord During the Coronavirus," but this next comment has issue with that title. So speaking of the title they think it should be, here's what the comment says. Correction. What it's like being a greedy piece of shit during the coronavirus. Everyone knows landlords aren't people. Well, this comment by leaving blank, like, I don't know what, their beef is, but we provide housing for others. Some of them make 6 figures, so don't even need it, but they're choosing to because it's a good opportunity for them. I also have friends that just don't even want to buy a house of their own. They would rather rent. I'm pretty good friends with an attorney, and she is a badass. She makes a ton of money, and she rents. She rents a pretty nice apartment in a really nice area because she doesn't want to be tied down to a house. So for her, she's happy to pay somebody else rent because if the roof needs to be replaced, if the plumbing goes out, it's not on her, it's on the landlord. And she doesn't want to own a house yet. This next comment just says, disgusting. Steve Sansbury says, landlords are going to keep doing what they do best. Exploitation. Nick's boy says, to be fair, that's how all landlords make money. They exploit the fact that properties and homes are very expensive and hard for most people to obtain in order to make money off of people who don't really have choices. It's kind of worth considering the class warfare mentality when all landlords across the US are kicking tenants out on the street because they can't afford to pay rent. Well, I have never kicked somebody out because of the inability to pay rent. Now, I do rent out houses by the bedroom, and I have had some personalities that just don't jive, they don't mix, so I have had to non-renew several people. But it was never like, oh, you can't pay me money, so you're out on the street. It's never once been like that. And again, yes, homes are expensive. It depends on where you live. There are homes in the Midwest for very cheap. I actually know of a guy who bought a house for literally $7,000. But many people don't want to own homes. Again, I have plenty of friends that are high-income earners that have no desire to own their own home yet. Kangaroo Pabsy says, sounds awesome. I'd love to own a building and demand money from people. Enjoy that. And then Freedom Vanguard responded to it by saying, leeching off of other people's salary and contributing nothing to society sounds great. So this is another interesting one. Leeching off of other people's salary. I don't really understand that mentality. We provide a service and they pay for the service. It's just like if we sold ice cream and people used part of their salary to buy ice cream, would we be leeching off of people's salary? And as far as the, not contributing to society, first of all, we're providing housing, but let's forget about that for a second. Most of the landlords that I know, most of the property owners and investors, myself included, we had to work like crazy to save up the down payments for our first few houses. I had a sales job where I was working 17 hours a day, and every cent that I was making from that sales job, I was putting in an account with the sole purpose of investing in real estate. I skipped the vacations. I didn't eat out. I didn't go party with my friends. I didn't go to bars or clubs. I saved all of my money so that I could afford to buy a house. So I think there's a lot of bitter people out there that just, don't like to see success. They don't like to see other people building wealth, but here's what I have to say, and you can like this or not like it. If you want what I have, then go do what I've done. While most young people in their 20s were partying on a Saturday night, I was working. While many people were out at the clubs or the bars on a Friday, I was working on my marketing strategy. While people were getting high and playing video games all day on a Sunday, I was pounding the pavement looking for the next property to buy. So it's a matter of choices. And yes, I understand some people are born privileged and some people are born disadvantaged. I was one of those people that was born with little resources, and I was able to pull myself out of that and become a millionaire at the age of 25. So I think if everybody just takes a breath, it's okay. Relax. If you want success, you have to go out and you have to work for it. It's not easy. It is expensive. Nobody's going to hand it to you. So that's the truth. You have to work hard. You have to put in the time and the effort. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time. Peace.